The Resident is yet another successful medical drama that has both made us cheer for its well-fleshed-out characters and for some even shed tears at some of the more emotional moments. While on the air, the show has been going smoothly for multiple seasons. Behind the scenes, there are plenty of oddities, which is why today we're taking a look at The Resident, rules that the cast must follow on set. Let's get started. Don't touch anything without permission. Immersion is a huge part of our viewing experience, and so it's easy to forget that these are not characters going through dramatic events, but instead trained actors performing on a set with tons of crew members surrounding them. In order to help us forget about that strange fact of life, it is very important that continuity is maintained throughout the scene, and so if something is moved, there are people responsible for making sure that on the next take, it's returned to its original spot. To make things easier on the crew, the cast of The Resident is instructed not to touch anything without getting permission first. While logistically this rule makes sense, it seems like it might be a bit restricting for the actors that may want to improvise instead of feeling like they are walking on eggshells while on set. The cast isn't allowed to judge their own performance. There's a rule on set with most productions, as well as on the set of The Resident, that the only person allowed to yell cut is the director. This is because the director is the boss while filming, and even more simply, it helps to avoid confusion. Let's say though that you feel that your performance is lacking, or that you'd rather take things from the top for whatever reason. Well, unfortunately, you're kind of out of luck, dude, because like I said earlier, only the director is able to stop filming. This means that actors have to force themselves not to judge their own performance and just trust that the director knows what they're doing. Man, it's gotta suck to feel like you're bombing, but still have to push through though. No complaining. Working on the set of any television show is difficult, but don't expect any sympathy while on set, even if you're the leading man. Actors on The Resident are expected to keep any complaining about delays, long days, or any such matters to themselves on set. While this rule certainly fits the bill as being strict, it also makes a little bit of sense, since you are essentially complaining to people that clearly are in the same boat with you, and so that negative energy is probably best left in the back of your mind rather than one of your coworkers' ear. Don't ask for autographs. The Resident is a show that boasts some big names, and it's fair to assume that some of their actors can feel a little starstruck when they finally share the set with someone that they grew up watching on their televisions. What isn't going to fly on set, however, is asking those actors to take pictures with them or sign autographs, or really do anything to distract them from doing their job. While it might seem tempting to capture the moment with your hero, you also have to realize that just like you, they are here to do a job, and actors have lines to remember, marks to hit, and just tons to remember while on set. So don't go pulling out that Sharpie, even if you are a regular on the show, I guess. Don't call an actor by their character's name. While some of these may seem like no-brainers, it's interesting that this one is such a no-no while on set, but also makes sense. If you're a part of a show like The Resident, you're going to be spending a lot of time together, especially since the show has kept a relatively stable group in terms of actors. So maybe you should learn your coworkers' names. This one goes more for crew members than the actors who actually share a bond with each other, but The Resident apparently doesn't have any method actors that refuse to acknowledge their true identity, because the show has a rule not to call an actor by their character's name. Keep your attitude in check. On The Resident, the only person allowed to cause a ruckus is the director, and maybe the showrunner if they so please. The actors, however, are advised not to throw tantrums or have an attitude and yell or shout. Besides being annoying, it's considered deeply unprofessional on set, and it's one way to land yourself in hot water right away. While The Resident is a very well-made show with a lot of care in it, the expectation is to treat it like a job and not like an art project, especially with such a rough work schedule. In other words, don't act like you're Joaquin Phoenix or Leonardo DiCaprio on set, no matter how upset you get. The cast isn't guaranteed time off. Recent seasons of The Resident have been made far more complicated due to COVID and all of the issues that come with it. Things got so bad for some of the actors even that Emily Van Camp walked away from the show because she claimed that many hadn't seen their families in over a year, which is crazy to think about. She said that this was due to the crazy shooting schedule and necessity to jump from city to city to get the season done in time. While you may think that actors live cushy lives, even actors on a major network TV show like this one were expected to put the job even over their own families. While this is a rarity in the industry, it is crazy that it happens at all in the first place, and I'm sure is something that would make some aspiring actors rethink their career choice. Leave the past behind. There is a saying on the set of The Resident, and that is that every day is a new day. While this may sound cheery, and in some ways it is, it's also very much a matter of professionalism for the actors. The saying basically boils down to no matter what happened on the set the day prior, whether that be a tough day shooting, you were off your game, or really anything, you have to let it go the next day. This is impossible, we all know, but you are expected to leave your baggage at the door there, and it just doesn't go for problems on on set either. Things like marital issues or health problems are not excuses to distract others on set. And if you are going to show up distracted, then you might get written off the show in the not-so-distant future. Know your place. When acting for The Resident, you are expected to do just that, and not just really anything else. The cast of The Resident is supposed to be respectful of the crew and not act like they know more than anyone else. That means that you're not supposed to tell the camera operator how to do their job, or even to really give advice to another actor. Obviously, with a cast that has such a wide variety of acting experience, there are exceptions, and some of the more veteran cast members can give a few pointers. But for the most part of the term, stay in your own lane is a good rule of thumb if you're on set. So don't go asking the cameraman to get your good side, and just focus on whatever the director is telling you to do. Be ready and be quiet. There are a lot of cast members that appear regularly on each episode, but almost no one, even main character Dr. Hawkins, doesn't appear in every scene. But that doesn't mean that you are just able to go hang around craft service and eat all day, or go hang out at your trailer. You are expected to not only be quiet while on set, a fairly normal focus, as nobody wants to have to do another take because your voice got picked up by the microphones, but also to be ready to jump in for your scene whenever you're called. Since The Resident doesn't have a ton of shooting locations, there are often quick changes between scenes. And if the director has to yell your name and wait for you, well, expect a ton of glares from the crew who has to stay late because of you. Everybody is equal. If you are a cast member of The Resident, don't expect to be treated that much better than the rest of the crew. The Resident cast and crew all report to the director, but other than that, it's pretty equal throughout, something that many found refreshing when they stepped onto set. Many that worked on the show claimed that this rule helped them form closer bonds with each other, which I'm sure helped them perform better since their working relationships were vastly improved. While this is not a super common practice, mostly because usually big-name actors don't want to lose out on their privileges, it's hard to argue with the intent that this rule was meant to instill a sense of camaraderie amongst everyone and make the days go by a little easier. And that's it for our video. Were there any rules that shocked you? Leave a comment down below and let me know. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like since it helps us out a ton, and subscribe for more videos like this one released all the time. See ya!